Alright, so today I want to look at some of my ball python hatchlings that just came out of the eggs. As a matter of fact, I cut these open a couple days ago and we kind of peeked inside and it was not very good odds. I was actually breeding my bamboo calico to my pastel. It looks like I got a whole bunch of normals. I actually want to jump in there today. I kind of peeked in the incubator. Most of those snakes are out of the egg, but it looked like there was a couple stragglers. So what I want to do is I want to pull them out of the hatching box and I want to take a closer look at them, see if we can identify them, which can be a challenge in some cases, and then we'll give them names and set them up in the hatchling rack. Alright, so I actually have two boxes. I split this clutch up into two different boxes of 5. It was a 10 egg clutch, a lot of them. And even though I got a lot of normals, you know, the #1 best-selling snakes at all the reptile shows is a normal ball python. They sell really good because they're kind of inexpensive. But you know, it's kind of hard to pay the bills selling normals. That's kind of the tough part in the ball python breeding business. And let's take a look at what we have here. Take a look at this. They are out of the eggs. Pretty awesome. And here we have some empty eggshells. I'm going to pull these out. It looks like 4 of them are empty. And then we have one right here that he is still in there. Still kind of stubborn. Looking pretty good. Still hasn't come out. And take a look at this one. This is definitely... let me see if I can adjust this light. Let me bring this light up so you can see it. I don't think you can see it with the light down like that. But this is definitely, take a look at that beauty. That is definitely a bamboo right there. Take a look at that guy. We got one bamboo. I'm not sure exactly if he's a calico bamboo or just a regular bamboo. And it kind of makes me nervous if they don't come out of the egg right away. Sometimes you can actually... sometimes, you know, if you have like genetic defects or something like that, sometimes they can get stuck in the egg. But I'm just going to cut this guy open a little bit. Maybe we can peek inside. What I was really hoping for is I was hoping for the pastel bamboo calico. And hopefully we actually hit it. I'm kind of nervous about taking this one out. I'm not sure if I should take him out all the way, and I really can't tell on this one. It looks like he's really got some really reduced pattern up on the top. I'm thinking he's at least a calico bamboo. Take a look at that. That is kind of interesting. So he's not out of the egg yet, so I'm just going to let him cook a little bit more in this box in the incubator. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these other ones and take a look at these. Look at all these beauties right here. Wow. I'm like holding these, I'm like, where's all my bamboos? I got a whole bunch of non-bamboos out of this. This is like pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever had a clutch with so few of what I was actually shooting for. We got some pretty awesome snakes though. So the other possibilities without the bamboo, well, there's really only 2. We can get pastels and we can get calicos, and we could get pastel calicos and normals. So it looks like this one right here, I guess we can go through them one at a time and kind of take a look at what we have here. So this one's kind of interesting. It almost looks like, well, I'd say both of these look like normals right there. So that looks like 2 normals. And let's see what else we have here. This one is kind of interesting. This one looks like he's got his tail stuck under the grate there. So this one looks like, I'm thinking this one is a pastel. It was kind of interesting because I was looking at some of my other snakes from my other clutch, and I thought maybe the white on the sides was the calico coming through. But now that I'm looking at this one, it looks like it's pretty obvious that this one definitely has calico in the mix. Take a look at the difference. And sometimes it's hard to tell unless you actually produce a bunch of different ones and then put them side by side and kind of compare them, you know, one from the other. And that's really how you get good at ball python identification, is you hatch out a bunch of snakes. And I've hatched out, you know, maybe 200 snakes in my career, maybe 300, I don't know, but something like that. But you know, the more you do it, the better you get at a lot of the identification. Now, I still feel like I struggle in the identification. So I'd say it looks like we have 2 normals, and I call this a pastel. And then this one, I would say probably, I'm thinking this has pastel and calico in the mix. That looks like a calico pastel. You can definitely see some of the yellow coming in from the pastel. And sometimes it's kind of hard to tell until they shed too for the first time. A lot of times they're kind of faded out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some names for these guys, and I'm going to put them up in my hatchling rack. I actually took these names from all the names that people suggested in the comments section, which is pretty awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a normal. Grab a normal, and then I'll grab a name out of the bucket, and we'll get a name for this normal ball python. And this guy's name, take a look at this one. This is a good one. This is Peanut. Good name. Alright, so this is what I use for my hatchlings. This is an ARS 1039 tub. It goes in my rack, holds 39 tubs. I also have an ARS 1065, so I can actually hold over 100 hatchlings in my collection. Pretty amazing. And look at Peanut opening up a little bit, looking really good. We can get a better look at kind of his color and pattern, kind of a jumbled up pattern on his side. Looks really awesome for a normal ball python. So there's no hets or anything in this one, just a regular normal ball python. This is like the #1 pet that most people get as far as, you know, going to the reptile shows. Everyone's like, where's your normal ball pythons? I just want something inexpensive and a pet, and this is the way to go. Really awesome looking snake. And so that's what I do is I just put them right in here with some fresh coconut husk, and then I have this little disposable deli cup with some water, so I can actually just kind of change it out real quick. I actually wash all my deli cups so I don't waste them and I don't have to buy new ones. And then in the back I have a hot spot of 90 degrees that I kind of keep open, so they most of the time they hang out here. As a matter of fact, with hatchlings, they don't really know kind of what's going on, so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll open up the tubs, and a lot of times they'll be balled up in the corner up here, and after a while, you know, after maybe twice a day, I'll move them back to the hot spot just so they know where the hot spot is, and they kind of really need the hot spot to digest the meals properly. So that is my setup for the rack. So a couple other things I do to label the tub. Essentially what I do is I put a little label from my label maker, just put his name, Peanut, and then it's Clutch02 from 2020, and he is a normal. And I don't figure out the males and females until they're a little bit bigger, and then I probe them with a probe. And then I also put a new feeding card in the front, kind of gives you the whole year at a glance. And essentially what I do is when I feed them, I just put a little X right on the little X right on each week. And so like in January, there's 5 weeks, and I can feed them up to 3 times per week. It's really easy. And then I just do Velcro right on the tub, makes it for really easy. And then essentially what I do is I put a little tape right on this little, it's like a 3x5 index card, and I just printed it out on my printer. And then when I sell a snake, or if I move it around, and, you know, if the year ends, I just change out the card and put in a new card. It's really handy to see exactly what they ate the whole entire year just at a glance. Alright, so here is another normal, my second normal in the box. Take a look at that. Looking pretty good for a normal. It's kind of interesting, in some of my normals, in some of my combinations, it looks like I may have a little bit of granite in the mix. And granite's kind of interesting. It's like a pixelation in a lot of the patterns. Some people say that granite is just a random anomaly in some cases, but you can actually have genetic granites that'll transfer to the offspring. So you could technically list this one maybe as a granite. Usually I don't even look at the granite as far as labeling it as in the genetics. I'm just calling this one just a normal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick another name from the bucket. Maybe I'll pick the name that you suggested in the comments. Let's take a look at this one. This one is, this is a good name. This one's name is Bobble. Alright, let's take a look at what else we have here in the box. I want to take a look at this pastel. This is pretty awesome. And the pastels, I'd say that they're kind of hard to appreciate when they first hatch out because they really haven't shed yet. And once they shed, they get really super bright. And usually they lose a lot of the kind of this pinkish orange color on the side of the snake. Really awesome. You can see his patterns is jumbled up a little bit, and you can see there's definitely some yellow in there from the pastel. And usually they lose all the alien heads from the pastel. This one almost looks like it has quite a bit of granite in the side if you're looking kind of at the granulation, the pixelation on the side of the snake. So I'm actually going to pull another name for this one and see what we can get for this pastel. This one, here's a good name. This is pretty good. His name is Slippy. Alright, so the last one we have in the box, this is a pastel calico. Take a look at this beauty. So the pastel, as a matter of fact, the pastel calico was the female that originally the male came from, was a bamboo calico. I was actually hoping for some bamboo calicos, and this one looks exactly like the mother of the bamboo calico. Pretty amazing combination. And calico can be really variable. Sometimes it can be a really high white, and sometimes it's a low white. And I'd say in this one, it's a pretty high white. You can see a lot of the white coming up the sides of this calico. So this one needs a name. I'm going to grab another name out of the jar here for this pastel calico. Maybe it's your name that you picked out. Let's take a look at this if I can open it up. Here's a good name for this one. This one's name is Joker. Alright, so for this last egg in here, this bamboo combo, hopefully he's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put I use a press and seal on top, and it's really super sticky. I don't know if you've ever used press and seal. Some people are like, I don't know what press and seal is, and it's almost like saran wrap, except one side almost has like a waxy, sticky kind of a surface to it that sticks to everything, and sometimes it's hard to get it back unstuck from itself. It's kind of really weird, and I don't really have to seal it up super tight. I just wanted to go back in the incubator just another day or so until this guy comes out, and usually have to keep the humidity in there for the full 2 months of incubation, but usually right at the end here it shouldn't be a problem, just kind of throwing it on there and putting it back in the incubator. Alright, so here is the other half of that clutch, and let's take a look, see what we have in this box. Hopefully we'll have all the eggs, all the snakes out of the eggs. I'm not sure if these are all out or not. Let's take a look at this. And it looks like, let's see, we have empty shells here, and we still have one in this one, and it looks like we still have one in here that isn't fully out all the way. So that's kind of an interesting dilemma. I thought more of these would actually be out. So let's take a look at this one. I might cut this open a little bit more. Some of these guys kind of make me nervous not coming onto the egg this late. This one is really quite nasty. I hope this guy is okay. But it looks like this one is a normal on that one. And we'll take a look at this one. Wow, I thought, you know what, I thought I had more than one bamboo in my clutch. This one looks like normal. Take a look at that. That's kind of crazy. That may be actually a calico, because it's pretty reduced. I don't know, maybe a pastel calico, maybe just a pastel. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. He's kind of jammed in there. But that's not very good. I'm like, where are all my bamboos? Unbelievable. What are the odds of that? It looks like I only got one bamboo. I thought I had two. Look at that. That is crazy. What are the odds on that clutch? That is unbelievable. Sometimes you get all bamboos and sometimes you don't get any. And you know what this looks like? This one looks like a normal. This one looks like normal. This one looks like pastel. Oh wow, that is pretty crazy. And it looks like I only had one calico. Maybe this one's a calico, maybe a pastel, and then another normal. Wow, that is some crazy odds. Completely flip the opposite way. All right, so what I'm gonna do is it's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna name some of these. It's funny, someone was watching my videos and they said, hey, why didn't you actually breed some more expensive genes so you didn't get all normals? I actually did, and I just kind of lucked. I got the wrong side of the luck. That is kind of crazy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull a name for this other normal and see if I can name this guy. This one's name is Jeeves. So I have to say, probably the toughest part of normals as far as selling them online is that in most cases you're actually going to pay more for shipping than the normal is worth. And a lot of people are like, I don't really want to pay double or more than double for a normal ball python. They sell really good at the reptile shows, but it's a little bit tougher online because, you know, a lot of people are paying a lot more for shipping than the normal's worth, which is kind of crazy. So here's another one. I'm actually going to pick a name for this one, put them up in the hatchling rack. And this one, let's see if we can get a name for them. This one, here's a good name for this one. This one's named Zucchini. All right, I'm going to take a look, a little bit closer look at this one. We should take a look. They all have kind of this granulation, like a pixelation in there. And like some of the bellies on these, it's kind of like a regular, normal look. Look at how small and how cute they are. Super cute little baby ball pythons. Alright, so I have one snake left and this one's a pastel. I actually went over to Google and I was doing some statistics on odds, and I was like, what are the odds of getting one bamboo out of 10 eggs? And believe it or not, the odds of just getting one bamboo is less than 1%. That is kind of crazy. It's like 0.9% the odds that I would actually get one bamboo out of 10 eggs. That is pretty crazy. So this is a really beautiful pastel. If you're looking for some pastels or some normals, I have plenty of pastels and normals. As a matter of fact, it'd almost be worth it to take all of these and go to one of the local reptile shows. If it wasn't for the pandemic, I would probably sell these at a local show because they'd sell really fast and you don't have to pay for the shipping, which is kind of tough with some of these lower end snakes. So I'm going to pick a name for this guy and see if we can find a name for this last one. And then I'll put the last 3 eggs up in the incubator. Here's a good name for this one. Good name, guys. You guys picked this name. This one is named Spaghetti. Alright, so there you have it. Those are some crazy odds working against me in this clutch. Pretty amazing. Not only did I get one bamboo out of 10 eggs, but I also had handfuls of normals coming out of that clutch. It would be kind of interesting to have some kind of an odds calculator where you can plug in the results of your breeding and figure out what are the odds that I actually got these. And I bet the odds would be like 1 in 10,000 or something crazy like that. But on the bright side, my hatchling rack is filling up. And I actually have another clutch of eggs. This time I actually paired my bamboo calico with a lemon blast, a pastel pinstripe. So in this case, I'll actually have bamboo, calico, pastel, and pinstripe out of 8 eggs, which is pretty awesome. It's going to hatch here in about 3 weeks. So hopefully I'll hit some pretty awesome bamboo combos in that clutch. So that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.